Babies, it's the even more fabulous Mother Love coming to you live and in living color on a glorious day. Every day should be glorious when you wake up and your feet hit the ground. Thank God every day, whomever you pray to. Thank them every day. Thank the universe for allowing you to get up and be clothed in most of your right mind. Well, that is what I do. I wake up and I'm like, okay, I got it. I got it. I'm ready to go. I am ready to go. There's so much going on in this, with the world and just all kind of crazy. Now this is really a live radio broadcast, podcast. Is there a difference between a broadcast and a podcast? Yes, no, no. It's all the same thing. They just got different words for it. Speaking of words, most of us, and this is a not good thing for most of us in America, that we are not all bilingual. I mean, your name another language so that we can be readily available and able to communicate with each other. And I've always thought that, they said that Russia and Arabic and Chinese and Thai are very difficult languages to learn. And I don't think so, because they have stuff that means one thing. If you say shout, it just means shout. If it says jump up and down, just say jump up and down. You don't have to keep going through a bunch of stuff. You can just say it. And I have talked to some of my friends who English is their second language, and they said that English was really hard for them to learn because so many of our words mean so many different things, and you got like 12 words to mean one thing. I mean, why can't you just keep it to like get up and not all of this other kind of follow the raw and fiddly dee so we can understand it? I want to be able to understand it. And when you're in the elevator and you on the work job and everybody doesn't speak English, and then they start speaking and you don't know what they're saying. They could be cussing us out and talking about us like a dog. I remember this stopped me from going to just this particular nail salon in Pasadena. Okay, so I'm in the nail salon and it's packed. I mean, they're in there, and after that, I don't go to nail salons on the weekend. But anyway, I'm in the nail salon, and I'm waiting my turn, and, all the chairs are filled. And, the guys, the first time I ever saw a guy getting a pedicure, he had hooves. He had toenails that looked like talons on his feet. When the lady cut the toenail off, I thought she took half of his toe off. And he was just, like that. He said, this is my one thing. And I'm like, your feet look like that every 30 days. But anyway, he was a veteran. He was in the Vietnam War, and he had his jacket on, and they were speaking in Vietnamese, and then he stopped in the middle of this, and he told everybody in there, he said, they were talking back and forth, the ladies were, and he piped into the conversation and said them like that. I'm gonna tell you what they're talking about. They're talking about you, like, look at her funky feet, and using all kind of, whatever kind of curse words they use, because it all sounds like the same. And he said, you are being rude and disrespectful. These are your customers. And I got up and walked out. I'm like, okay, you can't speak to me, and we're in America. Speak so I can understand. And then they all got, oh, no, sir, no, come back, everybody come back, and we're like, why would you go back there and you talking about us like a dog? See, that's why it's important for us to be bilingual, multilingual, or some kind of lingual. We need to master this. I've listened to the young people, and they got up. I thought I had a potty mouth. Wait a minute, hold up. I got a dry mouth right now. I thought I had a potty mouth. These kids use so much profanity, and it's for no reason. I'm taken aback by especially rappers, and this is 50 years of hip hop. Remember, they said it wouldn't last. They talking all that smack, and then we got the hip hop, and then we got the other. We had hip hop, and we got the. Well, I gotta find out what trap music is. I don't know if that's for the people of the evening, the early girls, and that. And then we got we got the hip hop, we got rap, we got all of these. And it used to be when rap first came out, 50 years of rap. We have been around since the beginning of rap music. Now that's some deep stuff, and it has made a lot of people very, very wealthy. I always thought you being a wordsmith You would have to master what language that you're speaking in. You have to be able to know what it is that you're talking about. And if you got to use all them cuss words and all you talking about is having sex with 12 different women and, you doing all this and women calling each other out their name. Rap is about lyricists. Rap is about language. Rap is about language and understanding the words and the flow. And if that's what you gotta do, just jump up and cuss and be hooping and hollering. No wonder we're having trouble with our young people understanding, because you need to know how to speak. You don't talk the same way. Your speech needs to be where you're where you're like, if you're in a business environment, you don't talk like you on the street talking to your home people down there, walk down the way. You're not doing that. You're talking in a professional manner. When you go to church, when you go to temple, when you go to the mosque, you're not using all kind of foul language there. So we do have to switch up with language. You need to know what it is that you're talking about. At least do a little bit of research. Just you can do all the kind of things and find out just about anything on the internet, including how to speak, how to present yourself, how to put dots over the I and T's at the end of sentences, and learn, just learn the basics of it. And then we want to get mad. Then we want to get mad because all these foreigners are moving into the neighborhood and they buying up the stores, and I don't know what they saying to me. I'm dumbfounded. What? Okay, so if you dumbfounded and you're upset because the people have the wherewithal to say, I can get into business. I can buy me a little store and be a neighborhood, be the little neighborhood delicatessen, whatever. And then we get mad because, well, they moved in here. Well, did you try to pool your resources and go with your friends, with your soft market, with your family, with your friends, with your coworkers, and, come up with an idea? We are so busy wanting to pull each other down instead of lifting each other up. I want to show you a way that, even by example, we were taught by example, and you lead by example. All of us are not talkative like me. We're not all loquacious like that. You still have a voice, and you don't allow your voice to be silenced because of somebody else's angst. You don't let your voice be silent because if you speak up, you're afraid to speak up. Many of you who don't know him should know him. John Lewis was one of the pioneers of the civil rights movement, and he used to say, let's get into trouble. Let's get into good trouble. And I used to wonder, now what is good trouble? Good trouble is when you stirring up the pot, and now they're calling us disruptors. They're disrupting, they're influence. And we gotta do that. You have to be able to master your language, whatever that language is. When I'm talking to little kids, even when I'm talking to grown people, and sometimes everybody is not as learned as you are. Meet them where they are. Don't sit up and say, oh, wait, they should know this and she should talk like this, or what's wrong with them? Why don't you got to be willing to say, I'm willing to step up, step in. I might get into trouble. I'm going to get into good trouble. I got into good trouble one time, and this is at the beginning of hip hop. Okay, so at the beginning of hip hop, we all out there doing our thing, and I was the chick in the neighborhood that would bring the big cardboard boxes because my husband worked in a warehouse, so we had to bomb cardboard, coming in, taking them to the neighborhoods, and just watching these super talented kids. I mean, what they used to call it, spitting. They would be spitting their lyrics, and they would go so fast to be so, just so clever, and the way they put words together. I mean, these people were wordsmiths. I remember listening to Queen Latifah. Did I just date both of us? Listening to Queen Latifah, and when the women came on the rap scene, oh, I like the ones when they would get into the battle with the men and the women, and they would be going back and forth, and just like watching a tennis match, see gonna do what, and just the energy and the level of excitement, and just pulling these kids together. All of us need to be in the parameters of what we're doing. And sometimes you got to step out of your comfort zone. Like I said, I got into good trouble because they were like, y'all can't be out there playing all that music and doing all that twirling on that cardboard. And in the middle of the night, we would have, before they had the little flashlights. We have our little big lighters, and we out there just having a good time. We were getting into good trouble. People knew how to go to someplace and have a great time. And, just go to the party, had a blue light in the basement and the red light in the hallway, and just having a good time. And my heart breaks a lot of time all the time when these kids go to these parties and it's some kind of violence that's breaking out. We got to show one another love. And the first place we could start showing one another love is loving ourselves enough to take care of ourselves, loving ourselves enough to, okay, I need to go. I need to stop. Well, okay, I'm cool. You got to give me the clue. That's the director over here. So what was I? Well, I just do declare. Hello, beautiful. See, look,
Hello.
say you trying to stop us. Hey, Dr. Angela Williams. See, I was waiting for you to come. She had to get all butatious and everything, and I appreciate that. I put on a good part too. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to just a whirlwind of excitement and her philanthropy. This is Dr. Angela Sadler Williamson. She is a PhD. She's a doctor. She got a PhD. She's the real deal. She has a number one international best-selling author. You've written a book to pay homage to your cousin. You're an Emmy-nominated filmmaker. You won multiple. Wait a minute. Let you tell it. This is Dr. Angela Williamson, and she is. You tell them who's your cousin. Who is your cousin? See, we got history up in this piece. Hey, sweet. Okay, tell us about Dr. Angela.
Well, this is getting ready. Tomorrow we'll be commemorating the start of the Montgomery bus boycott. And yes, and so that's why I thought you reached out to me. So excited to be here. I mean, beautiful sister. I'm so excited to be here. But my cousin, was the phenomenal icon Rosa Parks.
Now, how are you related? Now, she's your real cousin, right?
Well, here's how it's related. She is my cousin through my husband. So my husband is the real cousin. And
no, you go with that. You a package deal. No.
Well, I figured after more than 2 decades of marriage, then I've earned that title.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's right. Take it all in.
Yes.
So,
and well, it was so interesting because we had been married for some time before I thought about even writing and producing a documentary about her. But I had a unique point of view because all of the stories I was hearing from my husband's family, I'd never read in history books. I had never seen anything like this. And so after, well, if I am,
wait, hold on one second. Hold on a second. We have a little technical difficulty here. Okay. Okay. I was told don't touch any buttons. Now they want me to touch buttons. We could be talking to each other in New Zealand. We're back. Can you hear me?
Yes, you sound wonderful.
Okay, there we go. All right, thank you very much. So now you're here, because they didn't talk about us. They never told us the story. When I was in high school, we had to really fight the Cleveland public school system to put Black history into the schools. I'm like, why and if it is, it's a little footnote. It's like, okay, maybe we'll do the also ran. And I mean, phenomenal. I had the honor of meeting her. And it was, I just felt like I should sit at her feet and gather all of her wisdom and get it all out while I had my chance. And such a gracious woman, just kind-hearted, loved everybody. And sometimes, like John Lewis used to say, let's get into good trouble. She started some good trouble. Look at that. Look at that. So you said that you had heard the stories, but you really didn't see anything in the history book. What prompted you to say, I'm going to write a story about our cousin?
Yeah, I hit, I believe, midlife crisis. I was in my mid-40s. I just finished my doctorate and my career wasn't going the way I wanted to. And at that point, my father-in-law had passed away. And my husband said to me, like, here's this book. He gave me this book, The Rebellious Life of Mrs. Rosa Parks. And I had started thinking maybe I should go back to my first love, which is filmmaking. And so, because I had stepped away from it to go into education, and maybe it's time to tell the story before we lose all of those stories, because when those generations leave our earth, so do those stories.
And we have to
And
be able to
so,
tell our own story. And that is what is so beautiful.
yes.
We took history classes, and my mother was an avid learner, and she was a school teacher and a social worker. And you know how people change jobs? My mother changed careers. So in one of her careers, she had said, learn the stories, learn our story, not his story. It's a compound word, his story. We got to start telling her story and our stories. And just breaking it down, that just that basic was just enough to make me say, I got to find out what we doing. What? Wait a minute. We got people like who in our family? And when you grasp that, see, you know what? I'm gonna tell you what it was. Why you was having problems. I'm already gonna tell you why you had problems. We just met. I'm gonna tell you why you had problems with your career. Because see, you had a plan, and God laughed, and so you, okay, Miss Anna. Okay, that's cool. Okay, right. Okay, this is what you here for. This is what you are here for. This is why you are doing what you do, because this is what you are. And when you have a passion for it, you'll never work a day in your life. So you jumped up and said, okay, I'm going to write a documentary. Okay, and why a documentary and not like a regular film? Where somebody's playing her or whatever.
Yeah, I always received the most and the best inspiration by listening to people's stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I think best drama there is to listen to personal stories. And so the direction I went into, I mean, this was years in the last class I took in my undergrad documentary film course. I always thought one day I want to produce a documentary. Now it would take me a few years, but I did always an entire and so that is the direction that I took for this. Now, I mean that I probably not.
Okay, wait, hold on, Dr. Angela. Wait a minute. Hold on, Dr. Angela. Director, something is wrong with this. It keeps pixelating and breaking her up. Should we just reschedule?
Oh.
No, we got to figure out how to get this because you're breaking up on the feed over here, and I want to make sure we get the information out. Okay. Oh, so anyway, you always wanted to be a documentary. Documentary. I can get it out. And so, and what made you select her in specific?
These stories I was hearing just inspired me. So I figured that they have to inspire others. And so the resources were there. My husband's aunt said that she helped me gather people, and I just walked into the path.
See, when you're doing what you're supposed to, will open up and conspire for your success. And so now tomorrow is the 1955, the Montgomery boycott, the bus boycott, right? 1955.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 1955, and here we are still fighting a battle, still fighting for our place where we belong. I heard this the other day, and I was just, sometimes you really need to know what people are and what they're saying and what they're doing. Remember John Wayne, the Duke? He did not like Black people. He did not like Native Americans. He said it was white people's privilege to come over here and take the land from them because they knew better what to do with the land than the people that had been here for centuries. And I'm like, really? Really? And we're still dealing with that. We're still, fighting to break the glass ceilings. Okay, and that's what we got to do. We got to, come in with a sledgehammer sometimes, and be able to do the thing and be able to say where we're going and what we're doing. Okay, and okay, here we go. Okay, it was getting a little crazy. See, this is what we do, and I appreciate your patience with us. And I'm gonna let you know now. We're gonna have you come back on so we can have this all prettied up and everything because it's gonna be a lot said and done. So now, how are you preparing for this? And tell us about the book. Did the documentary first, and then you did the book.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay.
Yes. So I did the documentary, and I spent 2 years on the film festival circuit. And yes, so from 2017 to 2019, I was on the film festival circuit, and it was so well received. It was really humbling. It was, I mean, we went all over the country with it, and I was ready to move on.
Mm-hmm.
And it was suggested to me by friends, you should write a book. And it took me a while to figure out what type of book I wanted to write. And then I decided that it would be better if I wrote a children's book because Rosa Parks was all about young people because she believed, and this came from the interviews, she believed our greatest hope was in pouring into young people so that they could change. So they could change the face of activism, get discrimination and prejudice. So my decision was to write a children's book because I wanted to be able to reach a segment of the population I couldn't with the documentary.
So now what's the age group of the children that the book is for?
It's between 5 and 8. However, I've had fifth graders. I have the book right here. I've had fifth graders read this book. I've actually, this was my greatest moment. I was able to give a commencement speech at Iowa Wesleyan University, and they bought the children's book for every graduate. So college students can read the book as well, because the life lessons in there is for all of us.
It really is. And she was absolutely right. We have got to pour the knowledge into the next generation so that they can do the same thing. I mean, when we grew up, we were in a village. I mean, you could not go out and act like you didn't have any home training because we did have home training. And it was all right for Miss Jean down the street to tighten your behind up. It was all right for the grocery man to say, boy, if you don't pull your pants up, what's wrong with you? You ain't my mama. I said, no, because if I was your mama, you'd be getting your behind whooped right out here with your own belt. Okay, don't talk to me crazy. I said, I'm not your mama, but I'm somebody's mom. And we've seemed to have gotten away from that. We seem to have gotten away from the children understanding that we are the adults in the room. And to be able to do that with knowledge and with a book, I mean, that's something you're going to live forever now. You're going to live forever. Okay, maybe your body won't live forever, but you will. You're the essence, just like your cousin Rosa Parks. Now, tell people the name of the book. I thought this was so cute.
It's My Life with Rosie, a bond between cousins.
How sweet is that? She would have been proud of you. So it's a good read for everybody. So I got a lot of little nieces and nephews because they're like in the. Oh, I think I'm at the top level with the aunts and everything, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not trying to take on. Wait a minute, and they said, you are the matriarch of this family. I'm like, no, I'm not. I can't be responsible. Are you kidding me? I have to be in a controlled environment, and I know that. And all of us need to have perimeters and parameters, and not be afraid of our children. Could you imagine? Say just a minute. Could you imagine? Say it to your mother coming into the dinner table when you got caught. I don't want to eat that.
No. And my mother's from Tennessee, so she would not be playing any of that.
No. And everybody and adults looked out for all the children. And they used to say, if you get in trouble, run or holler mama. Somebody's gonna come out there looking for you. Because somebody gonna come out there and save you. And they did. They really did. Some guy tried to snatch one of my sisters off the street, and she ran, she started screaming, mama. All the ladies came out. We lived in the project. Girl, they all came out. He scared the bejesus out of them. That's what you're supposed to do. We're not protecting our children, and you're protecting them with their education, with the knowledge, with the love that you have put into this book and the documentary. So tell us about the documentary and how, because it took, you said 2 years to get that done.
Yes, it took 2 years, but it was worth it. I
Mhm.
wanted the story to reach every person who watched it. And I wanted
Mhm.
them to feel as if they were part of the Williamson family, because these stories were really family stories. And
Mhm.
and so it took 2 years to actually it took more time to edit the documentary together than to actually shoot the documentary, because I wanted to
Can
make
you just
sure.
wait a minute? Can you just tell people that one more time? Because you can make the most beautiful picture, and the editing sucks. And that is so tedious. And then you go back and you go back. And did you find yourself second guessing when you would go back? And were you able to say, that's it, I see this piece, let's move on?
You know what? I had to tell myself to be done, because when you're a documentary filmmaker, you don't have a script per se. And
Mhm.
so there is no, this is the end. And so I had to tell myself, you're done with this. And in fact, before I started submitting, I sat on that documentary for at least 2 months before I started submitting, because I wanted to make sure that it was done. And I was trying to hit a time limit because I wanted to get into the Palm Springs Film Festival, and it had
Mhm.
to be 70 minutes. And it was at 64 minutes. And at some point, there was just peace with it. Like, you're done. And I
Mhm.
knew that it wouldn't get into that film festival, but then something just told me I needed to be done with it. But it made it to a lot of other film festivals, and I met
Mhm.
so many wonderful people, just like yourself, who had already met Rosa Parks, and they felt one with that. And so I got so many other stories because I just listened to what the universe, what my spirit was telling me, and just stopped it right there. And so I think that's all a part of, when you want your story to make a difference, you have to realize that your story is more powerful than what you are. And that means that you have to, and I this was a really lifelong lesson. I had to really learn the art of humility in it. And
Yeah.
because of that, I was able to reach so many people and do so many things.
So when you got your first award for your work, what went through your head? How did you handle that moment?
I was in
Okay, wait a minute. The look on your face is like,
I
girl, I'm still handling that moment.
it actually was this time of year. It
Mhm,
was December 10th, 2017. It was the very first film festival, and everything was new to me. And when they called my name for Best in Show, I was actually talking to another female filmmaker and just congratulated her on winning. And
mhm,
she is now is my lifelong friend.
mhm.
But they actually had to call me twice because I was distracted talking to another female filmmaker. And I was so shocked that they handed me the award. And if you look at the photo, I'm just standing there, almost deer in headlights. I smile, and then I think I literally just left, went to my car, took a photo of the award, and said, we won. I don't remember that, but I was driving home, and my husband called me. He said, your Facebook is blowing up. And I was I it was almost as if I validated. And people don't realize, but at that point in my life, I needed to feel validated, and it did that for me. And so it was the moment that changed how I started to look at my life and what I'm doing to make that long lasting legacy.
Get to a place, and I appreciate what you said, that your stories, our stories, are bigger than we are. They're grander than we are. They like Dr. Maya Angelou. She's another one. I had the privilege of meeting with her. Oh my God, we did a tele. I used to do live TV, and I was on this show, and she was a guest on this show, and so everybody, we had a good time. Well, she and I started talking. We were sitting on. They instruct the whole set. The lights are going out. People are leaving. Nobody is left in the building but me, her, and the guy that was supposed to lock the building up. And finally, he just said, "You know what? Y'all been sitting here talking and running y'all mouth for 2 hours. We got to go. I got to go home." And I was like, "I got two," and it probably wasn't 2 hours. And I mean, it was. She was not, like, okay, I gotta go. Okay, you just said enough. She was. It was just like talking to my aunt. It was like talking to a member of my family. And that's how Rosa Parks made us feel, that we belonged to her and she belonged to us. And just their quiet demeanor, it's the quiet ones that'll get you. Them the ones you better watch out for.
Mhm.
They ain't being sneaky. Oh, but you better believe they are planning and plotting. And then when you see them, you just got to get out the way. You just got to move, because their light is shining and they have no problem with going through the gauntlet. All the time it's not pretty. It wasn't pretty when your cousin sat up there and said, "I'm not moving out the seat." I actually got to sit on the bus in her seat. They would, because they were touring the bus before. They had the original, and we got to sit in it. And I was sitting there, and you could just feel the energy. You could feel the love that she put into that. When you said you finally felt validated, and you felt like you needed to be validated, do you think that's part of our going through our midlife crisis and going through perimenopause and going, wait a minute, this cannot be all that it is? When did you know that this was not all that it was to Dr. Angela?
I think it's important, especially when I look at, we talked about her stories. So we look at all the women's stories, but then also too, we look at where we're at in life.
Mhm.
And when it comes to sacrifices, maybe it's part of who we are, but a lot of women make sacrifices, and those sacrifices are worth it. But sometimes what it does is it leaves us to a part of our time in our life where we don't feel validated. We don't feel that we're as appreciated as we would want to. And I think sometimes what that does is it damages our spirit a little bit. And what that documentary did for me is it showed that even through moments that we may not feel validated, or even at moments where we feel that we're not appreciated, we can still make a difference. And oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much. Someone said, great, Joseph. Thank you, Joe.
Oh,
And
hey,
yes, and
Joanne.
someone else is
Oh my
watching
good. Oh,
too.
girl, wait. I got to call you when we get off the radio. Okay.
Yes,
Uh,
yes. So I think it's so important, and especially with anybody in our lives, to show them gratitude. And I mean that I'm sitting here with you. I mean, I was a little girl watching you on television, but
shh, don't tell
yes, well, but you're still the same age. You haven't it. but but
you know what
but
they
I'm
say. Now
hoping
you
that
know what
there's a
they
little
say.
girl watching me and seeing me out there, and that one day I'll be able to meet her. And so I look at that and look at so many powerful women, and we're in Los Angeles, and we see so many powerful out there that we just admire because you're real and you're authentic and you have grace, and you give us the hope that we can someday do that. And
And
yes,
you
it's
can't.
I mean,
You have
absolutely
you have to
ageless.
validate yourself. You have to validate yourself, and I understand about what that is. And being a woman growing up with my mother, she was a widow at 31 years old with 6 kids. All of us seven. It was a 7 year gap between the first one and the sixth one, and she never remarried. She stayed. She said, "I want this on my tombstone, the unremarried widow of." And I was like, "Okay, it's on my tombstone, okay." And one of the many things that she taught us is, you have to love yourself. If you don't feel comfortable in your own skin, you're going to be hard pressed to get other people to be comfortable with you. And I've always been like that. It was just that was the light God put in me. I used to get mad when people used to laugh at what I was saying. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm trying to tell you something for real. They just be on the floor. My mother used to wear a towel on her shoulder, and I would be saying something, and she'd be biting the towel. I thought she was stopping the cuss, so she wouldn't cuss me out. She said, "Girl, no, I had to wear that towel because when you got to talking, if I start laughing at your crazy behind, I'm gonna lose all my credibility." It's like, what? And I'm thinking I'm really comfortable in my skin, right? And I remember my mother came out here to California to see me, and you know how we all want to be validated, and I always felt like I want to get that from my mother. I wasn't looking for it, but I wanted it. I really. She came out and she's validated me. I was 35 years old, and she said, "I just want you to know I'm very proud of you. I'm very proud of you and your family. And you a good girl. I knew I wasn't gonna have to worry about you. You are the one out of all of them. I knew I wasn't worry about you, girl. It took me everything to get my big giant head down that flight of steps so I could just go outside and scream. And I did not realize how I needed that validation. And then you said, as we get older, is it that we get to a place where now we need to be revalidated, or we go to another, or is it that we feel like, am I still useful? Do I still have something to say? What can I do? How can I make today better for myself and for other people? And it's always good till you take your last breath. This is what we're doing. So now you also have a television show, an interview show on. Not saying I got the notes right here. I do my homework. I'm saying that. So tell us about your show on KLCS PBS here in Los Angeles.
It's the perfect show for my personality, because I believe that everybody has a story.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody makes a difference, and we are the entertainment capital of the world. However, we have so many other people around our city that makes our city so great. And I love it because that's where the educator in me can come out, and I can learn something new about each person I interview, but bring that to. And so PBS is the perfect home who I am. And I always just have to pinch myself that out of everything that I've done, that someone chose me to come at this certain time in my life to do this show. And like you said, as long as we're here, there's more to do. So you can be 49 years old and be on television for the very first time and host a show. And and
Absolutely.
and and share with everybody as you're making those changes in life, as all of us as women do. But I think that's so important. And that's why you said at the beginning, you tell God our plans, and that's when he starts laughing. I when I first was approached about the show, I thought, no way, you don't want me doing this. But I moved forward, because when the door opens for you, you have to have that faith to walk through it. And it's not all perfect. You hit, we had quite a few bumps in the road, but when it's something that you're supposed to do at that time in your life, it all works out. And it's all worked out. I would have never thought we were about to go into a 6th season. We are about to shoot our 7th season in Africa. I would have never had that opportunity to get to Africa if not for this show, if not for the documentary.
Where did you go?
All the middle of my life.
Where did you go in Africa?
We're going to Africa in February.
In February? Field trip. I got my passport, field trip, and I'm a very good traveler. I've been to Africa, and when I went to Africa, I came back a different person. The dots connected, and it started to make sense. I understood where I came from. I did the Pope move when I got off the airplane. I got down on my knees and kissed the ground of the motherland, and I became a different woman. I learned so much about myself in those almost 2 weeks that we were there. And I came back fierce. Ooh, I came back. Ooh, girl. And like I told, because they'll tell you, well, you have to do so and so and such and such. And I go, let me tell you what I have to do. I have to stay black, die, and pay taxes. And I'm trying to figure out how not to do 2 of them. And that's die and pay taxes. So back up on off a minute. Well, she is kind of feisty. It was just the dots connected with with the women and with the men and with the children, and it was a life-changing time for me. It really, really was. And I would recommend all of us who come from the motherland to go and see, to go and feel, to go and know that you are here for a reason. I know why God made us black women. You know why God made us black women? Because he knew we could handle it. Everybody can't handle being the black woman. Everybody talking about sacrificing. We will rob Peter to pay Paul. We'll make you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, a fried bologna, but you're gonna eat. We will sacrifice, because that's what it is. And what we do is we start sacrificing ourselves. We forget to take care of ourselves first. We forget that we do matter. How do you, because I feel your spirit. I literally feel your spirit coming through. I do. And you have such light around you. I can see the colors in your life. And, see, you my kind of girl. Okay, I probably lost enough weight to wear that when you get tired of that shirt. I'm just saying. I ain't got a problem with asking. Because I know good.
I'll make sure you have it.
That is beautiful. And your colors, they are so perfect for you. What did you learn most about yourself going through this process and going through this journey?
I know that, and I think, I don't even want to say I think, I know that God has us go through things because we underestimate who we are. And I've realized that whatever situation I come into, that I am more than a conqueror. I can overcome. And that is the type of person that I was made to be. I'm not a good person, and I do get that way sometimes. And so I have to check myself. I wasn't made to be a whiner. It doesn't look good on me. And so when that happens, there's somebody always to check me on it. There's somebody's story. There's a girlfriend that can check me and tell me, just like what you're telling me, we need to go and find ourselves and bring that back with us. I mean, that is really what I've learned, is that when I hit those obstacles, and that's all a part of life too. I mean, and to be able to know that when I hit those obstacles, I can overcome those. but what the choice is mine of how I do it. And if I
See, and that's
choose the
you said the
whining
right
way,
thing.
it doesn't work.
Oh, oh, oh! I had it. I mean, this is what I do for Grits and Groceries. I talk to people about their relationships with themselves, with their mates, with their kids, whomever, because we're all in a relationship of some sort. Some of us don't have a good relationship with ourselves, and then people wonder why you're so angry, because you're angry with yourself. And you got to, you have to get that off of you. That's your responsibility. When you said no whiners, I don't like whining children. So I can't tolerate no whining adult. Oh my God. And I had to ask, do you want a pity party? Because I got a box of tissue. I got a box of tissue for you if you just want to cry. Just, you want. Oh, no, I'm tearing up stuff. But if you want to come and you want to say what the issue is and you want to look for a solution, I am here for you. But you got to get all that whining out and, jump up and down and cry, blow your nose, and, you be crying so hard and they get it out. They get it out and they realize I am important. Well, maybe I am letting men run over me. Well, maybe I'm not listening to these women and why I can't find a decent woman. People used to always say this. My husband and I, we just celebrated our 50th year together. And 50 years. 50 years, yeah. I was like, I love him today. Oh, I love him today. Tomorrow could be a different story. We say that all the time. It'll be a different story. And that's what's so fun about it. People always say, you guys always look like you're having fun. We are having fun. This is a fun time. I got the privilege of marrying my very dear friend. And I had always told him, I said, if our marriage broke up, I would be more crushed about us losing a friendship than I would about the marriage. And he is my dear, dear friend. And we have a ball. People, how come I can't get a man like that? I'm like, because you not a good woman to yourself. So why would a man, he could smell desperation on you, boo. Come on. Where's your medal? And I love that you said, when you get to an obstacle, you know that you can overcome it. And a lot of people get to that point and they get stuck. And it's like, oh, I can't, I'm too afraid of what's going to happen. Okay, what if I do this? What? Talk themselves. I mean, I know women that have talked themselves out of success in their lives and in their relationships. Mm-hmm. And they look at you like, she got a husband. They've been together for 400 years. She make me think, no, you need to come over here and see what we're doing to make sure these guys stay with us. It's not like rocket science, and I'm like, oh, and I always said, I want to be the homeliest one in the group. And I clean up real nice. So I wanted to be around people who felt comfortable in their own skin. I believe we can learn from anybody and everybody. These young people, and you thought this was a children's book. This is a people book. This is a history book. This is a story that you are telling. So what's the next story coming up?
I have no idea. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to let the story come to me. But I know that 2024 is starting off with a bang. I've been given this opportunity to go to an entire country and tell stories there, and I know that's where I'm concentrating on, because we will be shooting 6 episodes in Africa. In Africa. So we'll be shooting 6 episodes of the show in Africa. And I want to be able to tell those stories, that even though you're sitting at home watching these stories on television, that you feel one with those stories. And that it motivates that viewer to make whatever change they need to make, because I think that that's where I want to go as we move forward in 2024. And so,
where are you going in Africa?
Nigeria, the American University of Nigeria.
That is going to be so great. That is, oh my goodness. Just know that they're real sexist over there. I'm just telling you the truth.
It'll be a very unique experience for me. I will be the only woman, and so far in our meetings, they have been so respectful. So I know what I'm walking into, but I also think it's important that our viewers here in the United States sees a different part of Nigeria that what's being shown. to
and
them
a
through media
real
and
people
stories.
there. Because I mean, they're beautiful people. I mean, they are just absolutely stunning. I mean, I was like, God, he looks so good. Look, whoa, y'all better be glad I got a husband. So I had to go take
And
him off
maybe
and
that's why my husband's been trying to work it out to go. But I keep telling him, no, I'm doing the work.
I'm telling you, you will have a great time. The people are so loving and so generous, and it, like I said, it filled a lot of gaps for me. When we were growing up, the guys would be out up under the street light singing doo wop. In Africa, everybody in the household gets up, shower, shampoos, and shines, and they have to leave the house and go do something. They're just not sitting around the house. No, they're not. They get up. They have the elders. They had a bed. If you can walk, you get up and going outside. And if you can't walk, somebody gonna take you outside. And I thought that was so great. And when you see how they revere the elders, you will see kings and queens. They're gonna they're gonna know you a queen. You come from America. You rich girl. I know you making movie. Oh, we love you. Just don't let them, don't drink the water. I'm just teasing. But they're just beautiful people. We had a great time. You will have how long are you gonna be there to shoot the 6 episodes?
At least 2 weeks.
Okay. Oh, look at that. At least 2 weeks. Yeah, well, y'all better send her. Don't make me have to go do it, just letting you know. And I keep my bail money and shoot. So I make sure we can get out. So you have so
I'll make sure you're on speed dial.
Oh, please do. Please put me on speed dial. Let's talk about your work as a philanthropist. What got you into the giving mode, and why is that important to you?
I think it's all a part of the legacy. And I learned that from the documentary, how important philanthropy is to each one of our legacies. And you mentioned this, and it was mentioned in my documentary, one of the ladies I interviewed, we're not going to be here forever. And I know at some point, yes, we're not, but our legacies will be here forever. And I think that is so important.
It's crucial, especially to tell our stories to our children, to the next generation. My grandmother and them, they didn't have a lot of books. And so, and my mother being the avid reader that she was, and she had just a ferocious appetite for knowledge and for reading. And we were the only people in the projects that had a whole full set of Britannica encyclopedias. And you would think with all those books, we would have some history. We had our history like this in a box, and in a little box. They did this. If it's a Native American, they did this over here. And I was like, well, where's the story about Hannibal? I mean, who's Hannibal? Hannibal was the guy that crossed the Alps with some elephants, and they said he couldn't do it. They're always telling us stuff we can't do. You can't do this. And we should have that show me state attitude. What they say in Missouri, I can show you better than I can tell you. And then when they faces on the floor, I didn't know that you could do that. No, because you want to put a limit on me. You don't get to put a limit on me. God got a limit on me, and that's the time frame I'm going. That one, and I'm going to live on football and basketball time. Because a football game is supposed to be 15 minutes a quarter. It can last 3 hours. So that's the time I want. And I want a timeout. This part don't count. But wouldn't that be cool? So as you're traveling and what you're doing, what do you do to decompress? What do you do to keep Angela grounded?
Well, I'm like your mother. I love to read. I love to read. I am fine sitting in a room with a blanket, reading books, reading all kinds of books, biographies. Sometimes I have to get a guilty pleasure in there, a romance book. So some people watch The Bachelor. Sometimes I get the romance book in there, but reading, really has helped me, and it's helped me through my entire life, because a lot of people, unless you know me personally, you don't know that I spent the first 3 years in speech therapy because I have a speech impediment. And so reading really has helped me develop that, but it was part of the way that I became such an introvert because of that. So that's why I always, when people tell me there's no miracles, when you see in front of a camera, when you see me speak, when you see me do any, is a miracle in itself. Because
So I'm getting an Angela miracle right now. Oh my goodness.
yes,
Please tell my
yes, yes.
And you are a miracle. You are uniquely made and created. And we're not going to get another one of you. You are authentic. You are real. And there are little girls that are going to look up to you and say, I can do that. They're going to be young girls. They're going to be young women and you never know who's watching you. You never know. I remember I was doing, you know how they do the book fairs and, they have all the tables and everything set up and, to do the business thing. And there was this one young lady, she was a LAPD police officer. She was sitting at the table, trying to get people to, to come over and tell them, she was going to tell them about the police department. And I came around the corner. Girl, this child jumped over the table. Not walking, she literally jumped over the table, hugged me so tight. I'm like, okay, baby, it's all right. It's all right. What's wrong? She said, Mother Love, I'm a police officer because you said I could do this. And I always wanted to be for me. I was like, baby, calm down. I can say it now because I didn't understand what that child said. And she said, I came to speak at her school. And she must have been in junior high. And she always wanted to be a police officer. And you know how everybody gonna be dogging you, how you gonna be with the po-po, okay, well, and she said, I asked her, I said, so what are you gonna do when you grow up? She said, oh, Mother Love, I don't know if I'm gonna grow up. I'm planning my funeral. I literally had to leave the room. And come back. And I had to get me together because this child, she just kind of broke me down, Angela. And I was like, no, we ain't running away from this. And she said, after me speaking at her school, that she was determined. And she was like in her second or third year as an LAPD officer. And you could have bought me for a quarter. You could have bought me for a quarter because I was done. I was like, okay, my work is done here. A police officer. Yes. You never know who's going to be listening. You never know who's going to be watching. And they're going to see you. And they're going to say, she's beautiful. She didn't think she could be on TV. You made for TV. And you never know. If you had told me this about my life 35 years ago, all I would have want to know two things. Who is your drug dealer? And we need to go stop him because your mind done just went to crazy town. You must be on something. I was like, really? And we have a tendency to talk ourselves out of it. What do you want to talk yourself into? What is your spectacular, money is no object. You can go any place on the planet, take anybody you want to with you, or nobody if you don't want to take nobody with you. Where would you go?
Oh my God. No one's ever asked me this question.
That's why I'm someone.
Yes. My big goal would be to take the women that have inspired me, and I love tea. So my big goal would be to take the women that inspired me and most likely have tea in Europe. I don't know where yet, but I can find a place, but so that I could just listen to their stories. I don't want to talk. I just want to say, tell me your story.
Who are some of your dream people? Who are some of the people you would want to hear their story?
I'm speaking to one right now. And so thank you so much. So pack your bags for tea.
Is that for me? That's my invite?
Yes. We definitely have to take Oprah Winfrey with us. Very impact. Pat Harvey.
Pat Harvey. She's an icon out here.
Definitely icon. I have girlfriends that have motivated me. And in fact, when the opportunity to go to Africa was coming up, there were some challenges. And they just told me, I have a really good friend. Her name is Angela. She said, you better pack your bags and take yourself over there to Africa. You better pack your bags. So, I have personal girlfriends like Angela and Glenetta and Denise and Linda that have just been encouraging me. And the thing is that they encourage me. They're real and authentic. And And then I had these beautiful women last year that helped me finance a documentary that just sort of, it was a spur of the moment documentary about Jack Canfield. And I would love to. I think that what all of you women have in common for me is that you are lights, and it doesn't matter what is happening in your world, you are a light. And I think more women need to come together with those lights, because we don't know, like you said, what our stories, how they impact others. And so that's what I would do. And I would hope that I wouldn't have a limit. So it doesn't matter how long my list is. And then, my mom is, she is in her mid 70s. So, that mom has to come too. So I think it's important for like-minded women to get together. And I just have such a long list. I mean, I think of Julie Carmen, the actress. I think of a lady who helped me with public relations, Kelly Bennett. I mean, so many women that have so much, and I would love to get all of us in one room.
Well, I should like to have that. What's your favorite tea?
Earl Grey. And
I almost said it. I don't know why I knew that. I knew that. Now, do you like the flavor teas though? Like the passion fruits and the apricots, and and I'm a big tea drinker too. I am. I was banned from caffeine, and I can't have caffeinated tea either. I know. Oh yeah, they banned me from caffeine. I was on a movie shoot, and it was in the middle of the night, and it had been a really long day, and the director, was telling one of the runners, go get me a double espresso. And I didn't even know what the heck that was. And I said, I want one.
I am. And you talked about flavored teas and coffee bean and tea leaf and their flavored teas. And I've been doing they call it a medicine ball from Starbucks, but apparently everybody wants it right now. But it's like their ginger mint tea, which is wonderful. But I mean, if we're going to go to Europe and have tea, we need to have Earl Grey and English breakfast, and we'll need to find a decaffeinated tea for you as well, because you have to enjoy the experience with all of us. I think it's so important.
It is important. It's very important for us to band together, this is one of the reasons why I love doing this, because oftentimes people, they need to know who you are. They need to see you. They need to feel you. They need to be able to say, I can do that too. Dr. Angela, she's got her PhD. She's a philanthropist. She's going to Africa. Why not? I used to tell our son, one day, baby, you're going to wake up and we're not going to be here. Talking about what? When y'all die? I said, no. You're going to wake up and we're probably going to be in Africa, Europe, something. And when we did, we didn't even tell them we were going to Africa. And we went to... He called her, told me, where are you guys? And we're like, oh, we're in Senegal. Senegal what? He thought I was at a mall. I said, we're in Dakar, Senegal, West Africa. He was like, you really went to Africa? Where's my father? I'm like, he's right here. Like, it was so funny. And you got to get up and go. We went to China, and everybody I knew said, why are you going to China? I said, because I want to go over there and see what they're doing. They doing something over there. It's 1 billion of them. They're busy doing something. I want to go. Had a ball. I actually was tall. I felt like because everybody, you say, who do you know? What do they look like? He about 5'6". He got dark hair. He got a wide nose, and he got 4 lips, and they all look alike. And they do. They all look like cousins. They all look like. And we were just treated so very well. We were in a communist country, and they took to us like we took to them. And what I've learned is people, Dr. Angela said this, people don't care what you say. People don't care what you do. People care how you make them feel. And when you can make somebody feel in that light, in your light, and you're not ashamed or afraid or, feeling stingy, well, I don't want to share my light. I don't want to, and you're giving it away so freely, the universe is going to continue to open up and conspire for your great success. Now, before we go, can you just give, our young audience and the young ladies, just maybe a couple tips on how to, when they get to obstacles, how they can overcome them? And just share some of them pearls of knowledge that you got around on that pretty necklace right there. Just go and tell them about that.
First, we'll have to thank Mom again for all the wonderful jewelry she sends me. When you face any challenge, my first advice to you is to remember that you are somebody. Second advice is that you are worthy. And the third advice is that you are here to leave your legacy. So if you can remember those things, it's not going to stop the trials, because in order for us to get to that next level, we are going to hit trials and obstacles and things like that. But what it does is it changes the way we walk through it. And when it changes the way we walk through it, we change our perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And
And other people around you will want to change because they see your light and they see you grow. And it has just been my distinct honor and pleasure to chat with you this time. And I'm sure we're going to have more chats later. We want to thank your publicist, Mr. Joe Williamson. Isn't he just a doll? Don't you just love him? And I want to thank everybody who is watching us. This is one of my girls. I have been friends. Oh, and I feel so bad. I feel so bad. You know that I love you. We have been friends. Her birthday is the day before mine. It's coming up December the 28th, and mine is December the 29th. We've known each other all our lives, all of our lives. And that is a legacy in and of itself. And I thank you. I salute you, Mrs. Anderson. I thank Joe Williamson. And what, Andrea? I ain't talked to these people in like forever. So this is what I got to do to get y'all to call me. I got to be on the radio. Okay. See, your light is working already all across the country, girl. You just don't even know. These people are back east looking at us or talking to us. Miss Angela Sadler Williamson, it is my honor. May the Lord continue to bless you, and may the universe continue to open up and conspire for your great success. And remember this, babies, no matter how big or tall, short or small, thick or thin, it matters not what skin you're in. Everybody needs some other love now and then. Peace, my sister. It has been a joy. Okay, don't tell me don't touch no button. All right, I got it. Peace and blessing. Okay, here we go. I got it.